Hey, D&D fans, it is, what is it? Wednesday. This is Wednesday, right? It is
Yeah, all day.
Wednesday. And that means that it's going to be Thursday tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to play D&D tonight. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Wiley Hobbit. My friends call me Scott, but my really close friends call me Wiley Hobbit. And I'd like to welcome you to our little Twitch channel. This is our regular Wednesday night game of Dragon of Icespire Peak. And I'm wondering, maybe we should change the name of the game at some point because we've finished Dragon of Icespire Peak. In fact, we've kicked its ass. It's on the shelf. It's put away. It's done, and we are advancing beyond Dragon of Icespire Peak. And tonight is an incredibly special night. So I have a friend that I've known. Boy, oh boy, it's got to be what, like 3 years now, Gideon. And
I'd say closer to four.
you've been at our table for 2 plus years. You're one of the OGs of you were in the first D&D game I ever streamed with Ms. Misery with Kayla. And to say you've changed a lot over the past couple of years would be an understatement. Is that fair?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I change as often as my hairstyle.
Nice. Yeah. And by change, I mean like really, really cool change. Growth, evolution, updates, awesomeness, increases. Just, oof, there's light. And I am just so freaking fond of you. And
Aw,
so tonight is a very super special night for my friend Gideon because we are going to raise some money for him to help him fund his top surgery. Speaking of change, speaking of transformation. And so to me, this is a special stream tonight. I kind of think of it as like transgender is beautiful stream.
yes.
I'm so stoked for this. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you, players, for um, being willing to pitch this to all your friends and tell people and use our love of gaming to do a little bit of good in the world and help Gideon with his little project. Woo! And if I'm understanding things correctly, you are scheduled for your procedure. Is that correct?
Yep, it's gonna happen middle of next month. I'm going out to surgery, which is terrifying.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I, for one, am thrilled. I'm honored to be your friend. I'm grateful because I've learned a shitload from you. And I'm just love you to death, and I'm stoked that we can help you out a little bit. So tonight we're going to be raising funds. Let me just drop the little, let's see, command in there. Oops, I'm not even typing where I should be typing. Goodness, technology. So if you want to help Gideon, a couple of links in there to his GoFundMe or his coffee account. If you could pitch a couple shekels in his direction, we would be so grateful. And it's important to note that, let's see, if we hit $200 tonight, I have an anonymous donor who's going to match it. So if we get to $200, we're going to get to $400. How cool is
Ah,
that? Yeah, so, and I'll keep reminding people of that because I'm just an absolute relentless marketer, snake oil salesman kind of guy at my core. So yeah, please help us help Gideon. Links are below in chat. I'll continue to push those out because I just get to keep typing "boob be gone" like a crazy 14-year-old, silly, silly guy that I am. And yeah, so thanks for joining us tonight. Super special edition. And also, just mark your calendars if this weren't enough. We're going to do another fundraiser August the 28th, I believe. It's a Saturday. And
mhm.
there's rumor, I don't want to put Gideon on the spot, but he has guaranteed us that he
Oh,
that he will DM that game, possibly.
All
oh
right.
dear.
And that might
Guaranteed,
be
maybe.
right, guaranteed possibly. And that I believe could be a world premiere event. Am I correct? Like you haven't DM'd on stream or have you?
I've never DM'd anything.
Well,
So,
that's like a quadruple premiere, so that can only be awesome. So, kind of mark your calendars for August 28th. We're going to give this little fundraiser another nudge on a Saturday so that we can just kind of keep letting people know the importance of supporting people who are transitioning, who are finding themselves, who are finally, as you kind of put it, going to feel better in your own body. Man, that gives me goosebumps just thinking about how good that is. So, yes, I'm excited. Okay,
yep.
so Wednesday night, it's Dragon of Icespire Peak. We're done with that module. We're actually into the second module. There's actually a trilogy of modules or adventures that come behind Dragon of Icespire Peak, and we're in the first one of those. So it's the second in a 4 module progression for our little campaign, our adventure. So we're going to stick around the northern Sword Coast. And what I want to do now is let's meet the players. Let's hear a little bit about each character, and we'll start with our man of the hour, our distinguished, wonderful, I don't want to say guest because you're one of the OGs, but Gideon, tell us a little bit about Null.
Null. Null is a necromancer Jehovah's Witness that is coming to terms with the fact that she doesn't want to adventure anymore. Aww. So I may be introducing a new character tonight. We'll see. See what happens. But Null she's doing her best to not die before she gets to Neverwinter. We'll put it that way.
So far, so good. You didn't even go down in the last campaign, or the
I
last
did not.
combat, I mean.
It was so amazing. I haven't gone down in a couple combats, so go me. Self high five.
2 days till retirement.
Just a few hours from retirement. What could
Nice.
go wrong?
I mean, sure, it'll be fine. No danger. Okay, very good. Thank you, Null. How about Tanner Seawalker?
Oh, I even had a cue card ready for you.
Oh.
And you didn't even need it. Good
I've been
job.
practicing
It is a
all
special
week.
night.
It is.
Wow. Hello, friends. I'm Carl in the real world, Carnage in Discord. One of these days I may even check out this Twitter thing. It's new. Everyone's talking about. I play everybody's favorite swashbuckler, Tanner Seawalker. Who, now that we've killed that pesky dragon, we can get back to tracking down the one-eared halfling who stole my father's Jade Angry Sea Bass amulet. And I'll throw a special challenge out that if every time I roll a natural 1 tonight, if everybody watching could throw $10 in, we could finish early. I'm just saying. this is how I roll.
Because this is how I roll, yes.
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 Oh,
And
my
I'll
goodness.
tell you what, let's segue into Von Felt hype here, because he is the purveyor and creator and designer of fine not outerwear, but t-shirt wear, like the one you're seeing here. Anxious Potato, I roll, this is how I roll. So let's hear a little bit from you, because I'm going to butcher this all up.
Oh, not a problem. Hey, everybody, I am Matt, Dungeon Glitch on the onlines, mainly Twitter. I play Von Folt. He's a human archer champion fighter. I guess the important part is for anyone who is going to donate to help Gideon in his cause. 2 lucky donors may win a shirt from me. So if you want to check out the brand, I'll put it in the F here. And basically, it's nerd shirts, positivity. I make depression memes because they make me laugh. I'm sad, and it's great. And if you're angry like me, it works pretty well too. So,
Nice.
But yeah, anyone they select from our donor list gets a shirt of their design. So, looking forward to it. So, nice seeing awesome people in the chat.
Nice. We do have some nice folks in the chat. Excellent. I saw a comment. Our good friend Andrew, Fellowship of the Tables, said that he will wear his tuxedo on stream for the next Mysteries in the Dalelands game, which plays on Mondays, if we hit maybe $100. So at 100, we'll get to see shiny, dapper Andrew in a tuxedo on the Monday night game. And then when we hit 200, an anonymous donor is going to match that, which will immediately take it to 400. So how exciting is that? And we'll keep you updated as we go along with regard to that sort of thing. And also, we will draw randomly by some magical means 2 donors who have donated will win or be gifted T-shirts from none other than the Dungeon Glitch himself.
Yeah.
And not only did Von Felt slay the dragon single-handedly without the help of the rest of the party, he also took down a fleeing bugbear last episode at like 500 feet. I mean,
forgot about
freaking
that.
badassery when it comes to shooting stuff with pink arrows. Just saying. Woo! All right. So that's Von Felt. Let's see, we got Tanner. No. How about Ezralyn? Ms. Misery, what's going on?
Hi. I'm playing Ezralyn, the level 6 half-orc fighter. He's perpetually tired and done with life.
Is that art imitating life by any chance?
A little.
Wee,
I mean, we both have the mom friend thing going on. I've accepted that about myself.
Yeah. Everybody needs a mom friend. Yeah. And
But,
Ezra is the party mom.
Yeah, well, she's just trying to keep everyone from dying or killing each other or just being dumb.
That's
She
a
likes
very...
them. She won't admit it, but she likes them. Also, we've already got a couple donations come in, so thank you guys, everybody. It's wonderful.
It's a very
My goodness.
necessary role. Thank you for the donations. Gideon's going to kind of keep us up to date on the climbing of the tote board while we're playing. All right, very nice. Thank you, Ezralyn. How about Ethan?
Hey everybody, I'm Chris WikiVA on Discord and Twitch. I play Ethan, the human diviner, and first let me say that I'm just so happy that I get to be here tonight and be a part of this. Gideon, I consider one of my friends. He can tolerate me, and there are a few who can seem to do that, so I appreciate it. This is our second campaign together, and I had such a blast with him in the first one, and I'm having such a blast with him in this one. So I'm just so happy to participate tonight.
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
gonna cry. Stop.
Yeah, man tears. Woo,
No.
bring it. Yeah,
I'm a man, I don't cry.
you've been gaming with Gideon for almost as long as I have. I
Yeah,
forgot
I've
you
been-
guys were in that other campaign. Gosh, what Corey's game? Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
Yep. Was
Shards
that on
of Amber.
Castle
Shards of
Mac?
Amber.
Right?
Forgot about that.
Yeah, Shards of Amber. That was a fun game.
It was a great game.
Yeah.
And so
Especially when I got to play in it. That made it.
Well, you were definitely the highlight. It was sad your character died. May he rest in peace.
Didn't he die smelling like fish or something?
He always smelled like
Never
fish,
smelled
but
like
I'm pretty
fish.
sure he was also a vampire. Wasn't that
I,
a thing?
He might have been.
Your character kept trying to put me in front of a mirror to prove
He
I was a
does that
vampire.
to everybody. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So anyway, I play Ethan, the human diviner. On a personal note, I'm going through home renovations, and I'm about to lose my grip on sanity. So it's nice to play a character like Ethan who has a death grip on sanity itself.
Yeah.
Man, it got quiet. Yes,
Is that
death
what you're calling your
grip
stats?
on
Stats?
sanity. Yes. Sanity is his dump stat. Nice.
When did you
Plus,
start playing Call of Cthulhu?
Oh God.
plus, he's high on paint fumes from the renovations.
That's right. Exactly.
All right. Last but not least, probably the highest form of life at the table, the halfling,
I was going to say, you got to stop talking about yourself.
Jacob Fairfleet. Fairfleet Firefleet. God, why can't I get that?
Everfleet.
Everfleet. Sorry, Jacob. One day.
Hi, I'm Dave Hay Wilson on the social medias. I'm super pleased to be here. Gideon and I have only been playing together for, I think, about 6 months I've been on this stream, and it's been a pleasure, along with the rest of these beautiful faces. So I do hope that people are able to give tonight. It's an important cause to this group, and I think to the community at large, and I certainly appreciate it. The broader strokes, who am I playing? I'm playing Jacob Everfleet, a halfling cleric of Brandabaris, making him a trickster cleric. And we're having all kinds of fun, and we're heading to Neverwinter and righting carts that have been upset. That appears to be our role now.
Yes. I've dropped 3 dice thus far, and we haven't even begun to roll yet, so I can already
Right,
see
keep
how
those
this is
ones
going to go.
coming.
Yes. Okay, so, and back to me, since I'm the host and Dungeon Master, please don't forget to donate if you haven't already, and we'll just continue to kind of flash up that little reminder where the donation links are. I think I typed it wrong already, so that's cool. But let's dive into some D&D while we're watching me type horribly. Okay, So last session, the party left Phandalin after having been declared heroes and paid handsome sums of money and had a holiday festival named after them in their honor, the Company of the Looming Eye Summer Thaw Festival, in honor of their defeat and slaying of the evil white dragon Cryovane. And so, in order to collect the remainder of what is due them, they are headed to Neverwinter. As Phandalin is actually a protectorate of Neverwinter, it falls under the auspices, the kind benevolence of the Lord Protector himself, Mr. Daggelt Neverember. And they have been summoned to an audience with the Lord Protector to receive the remainder of their payment, which includes becoming landowners. They're going to each be granted 2 acres inside the walls of the City of Skilled Hands, the Jewel of the North, Neverwinter itself. And they'll also be given title, so kind of the equivalence of nobility, if you will. As Neverwinter is a newly rising from the ashes sort of an arrangement, just 50 years ago, Mount Hatano erupted, laying waste to a large swath of the city and reducing much of the high road to rubble in the area of Neverwinter, and bringing forth no small number of horrible monsters and things. Neverwinter is being rebuilt brick by brick, piece by piece, and Lord Protector Daggelt Neverember has taken this on as sort of a special project. Began the project while he was the Lord of Waterdeep, but he has since been deposed in that role, and he has actually fled and now lives in Neverwinter. But he's sort of grown on the people there. He's been a boon, if you will. And while he does like to kind of rule with a tight grip, he's brought a lot of benefit and stability. Some wealth and trade are beginning to reestablish themselves, and now the city will be home to 6 brave souls, heroes in their own right, the Company of the Looming Eye that you just met moments ago. And so it is on the road to Neverwinter, about 2.5 days out of Phandalin, where we find our brave, intrepid adventurers. You can see I've just put up on stream, covering up Ethan and Jacob, but you can see the region map of the northern Sword Coast, and we're headed to Neverwinter from Phandalin by way of the Tribor Trail and now north on the High Road. And the last session, the party came upon, after stopping for a beverage or two at the Wayside Inn, which is at the intersection of the Tribor Trail and the High Road, they came upon what looked to be a scene of an accident or something. A wagon had been tipped and a cart had been spilled, but it wasn't an accident. It was actually what appeared to be maybe an ambush of some sort. Some creatures had waylaid the company that was running the wagon and the cart, and the company turned out to be none other than a collection of 8 of the Neverwinter, basically the militia, the Neverwinter Guard, from, of course, the city of Neverwinter. They were taking this cart southward when they were waylaid by some creatures, and it turned out, as the party discovered once they got up in there, that it was 3 really rather large fellows, some of whom seemed to be able to wield magic in some form or another. Some lightning bolts were thrown and things. These 3 Ogrillans were slain. And there was also a company of bugbears that were with them. 5 bugbears and a sort of like a bugbear chieftain type leader. And the last 2 tried to escape, and they were felled in their tracks by the incredible archery skills of none other than our fighter champion Von Felt Hypier. And it is at that point that we will draw back the curtain and throw up the stage lights and begin our session on the road to Neverwinter, at the scene of the carnage. The 4 bugbears and 3 Ogrillan lie in various forms of death on and around the road. The 7 soldiers of Neverwinter also lie slain. Just 1 soldier survived. And then there are the 2 bugbears who attempted to flee through the grasslands to the east, who also met their death at the hands of the Company of the Looming Eye. You may begin.
All right, so we searched everybody, right?
Believe so, yes.
I don't know if you searched them or not.
Let's search them.
Let's search them, shall we?
Okay,
So
just-
you
just
do
to be
have
sure, let's kick some dead bodies.
Cavity search.
the soldier. His name is
Search him too. Oh.
Clay. And actually, if memory serves, you had gathered the bodies of the fallen, covered them, put them neatly in the wagon. You know, got in the wagon, turned back a right, got in the cart, straightened out, and they were hauling building materials to a town south of the Tribor Trail, Leylon. It's sort of a seaside town along the high road, just north of the Mere of Dead Men. Another protectorate of Neverwinter, it turns out. And so I believe your plan was to turn around and head north, but you were going to have to do something with the bodies. You've got the deceased assailants to inspect and so forth.
Yeah, I think Gideon had cast Gentle Repose on all the guardsmen.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I think I ended my last episode on.
Yep.
I think you were correct. Would anyone care to inspect or root through the bodies?
Yeah, I will. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, you can roll investigation if you like.
Right.
$21.
12.
How'd you do?
I have a 12.
Okay.
21.
21. Very good. Anyone else looking around?
How many guardsmen were there?
There were 8 soldiers. Clay has sort of attended to gathering their effects and getting them straightened out in the wagon for the trip north. But there were the 3 Ogrillans and a total of 6 bugbears, one of whom is a like a chieftain or some sort of a leader type guy.
I remember I brought his axe back as like a trophy.
Yep. Yeah, he had a big honkin' battle axe. The Ogrillans, very, very long, kind of greasy black hair, very well muscled. They wear these dried, they're like boar heads, just the hide, and possibly the top part of the skull, where the upper jaw might be part of that, and then the tusks. And they kind of can use those. They're like gauntlets strapped on their forearm. They cover and kind of protect the forearm, wrist, and hand. And they have these 2 tusks that, they were trying to stab you and slash you with as weapons. They wear hides. They have like boar tusks on a necklace. There is some sort of symbology on them if anyone would like to make a religion check.
I will.
Oh,
Okay.
13.
17.
Okay.
You got a 24.
Nice. Anybody above a 15 would recognize this. It's 3 lightning bolts, kind of one in the middle going straight up, and then 2 shorter ones. They're very roughly, crudely sort of maybe burned, embossed somehow into some leather medallions that hang beneath the boar tusks on their leather thong necklace. And there are these 3 lightning bolts, 2 kind of at, the 11 and 1 o'clock position and 1 at the straight up noon position, all emanating from the same point. And Ezra and Ethan, you recognize these as holy symbols of Talos. Anybody who is unsure, I'd say, Ezralyn, you've heard of Talos. You've heard of the Stormlord. Wow, and we are at $195 raised already. Holy smokers, that is awesome. Thank you. So, Andrew, you are in a tuxedo on Monday. That'll be awesome. Come watch that game at 7:30 on Monday night. So, Ezra, you've heard of this god as the Storm Lord, kind of a deity of storms. Ethan, with your 24, you know that he's a very severe, sort of an evil, dogma, very big on absolute obedience from his servants and priests. And their mission is to spread destruction and chaos. A lot of the more troubling tribes and clans of demihumans, have been known to worship Talos. Talos is not a god you wish to encounter when you're on the water. A god of storms and destruction. So he's known as the Destroyer, the Storm Lord, the Raging One, the Wildfire. And so you recognize with your 24 that holy symbol, and then you recall from your studies a little bit about Talos.
Seems like great evil is here.
Yeah, that is not a pleasant day. Jesus, put it.
Well, I believe their deity would be quite disappointed in their performance this evening.
Yeah.
Man, I don't think we should laugh at that. I feel bad for laughing at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Afraid he'll smite us with lightning bolts.
I mean, for someone that's talking a lot of shit about a god, you sure are up the ass of your own. I mean...
Yeah. I serve a just and wise God, one who can see things as they happen. A God of knowledge, information.
Then why wouldn't he warn people of incoming disasters like this?
Well, I would submit that he sent his oracle.
Yeah, and you did a good job there, champ.
Thanks.
Did you just say he sees things as they happen? Wouldn't that make him the god of observation?
No, Tanis Half-Elven. It would make him the god of divination, which is what divination is. We diviners see things that
Even before they happen?
that small people like you can't see. Like, for example, I divined the location of Frigidaire's lair. That was something that existed at the time. I didn't see into the future to see it. I saw it as it was. That is what Savras could do. Some of us, his oracle included, do have the ability to see into the future. That's not divination. That's not through the weave. That's not using the weave to cast divination spells. That's a special gift I possess, and one that makes me particular value to Savras himself. Thus, I'm his oracle.
You know, software sounds pretty interesting and cool, but the problem is my dear traveling companion is that you are his oracle. Therefore, I can't help but think that Savras is a nerd.
I love that our relationship has developed, that we can jab and poke at jests at one another. That's what I had hoped it would have developed into. I'm quite pleased. In any event, we should probably make sure that no more of the servants of Talos or Tanis or whatever his name is come back, and we should probably resume our way to Neverwinter so that I and the rest of you can become lords and ladies of Neverwinter, as we so justly deserve to be. Well, most of us.
Clay will come back over to the group, and he's, kind of dusting himself off. He's got a couple of pretty good gashes and stab holes. He's leaking here and there. Whenever you're ready, we should probably get our fallen back to the city so that their families might be made aware of what has transpired, and we need to report into the Neverwinter Guard. The Lord Protector, I'm sure, will not be pleased.
Do you recall, no. How quickly after they deceased were you able to cast your gentle repose? Or maybe
Pretty quickly. I mean, I think that the decay is going to be at least held up for at least a 10-day.
Yeah. So I guess this was actually a more fair question to Scott, because we came in on this as it was happening. Within the time that we arrived there and dispatched the baddies, were these guys dead for more than a minute at that point?
Oh, it was. I mean, you came in the middle of battle. 2 or 3 of them fell while you were battling the attackers. Right. So this is all afresh. They weren't laying in the road dead for some time or anything.
Yeah.
They've all been killed in the last 15 minutes.
Okay, no, that exceeds, I believe, the time for Revivify. Yeah, last minute. I can't do it. I can't bring them back.
Okay.
I was thinking I could bring 2 of them back because I got spell slots for it, but not gonna happen. Oh well, that's too bad.
Well, I see no reason why we shouldn't resume our travel to the north.
Yeah, we should be able to get the remains of the guardsmen up there on the cart. We've got the cart back together. We repaired the wheel, and we've got their horses back in good shape, I believe, the draft horses. So we can make our way north back to Neverwinter.
Well, you better hurry. I mean, I don't want to stay out here with a bunch of corpses for any longer. I mean, you don't know the kind of stuff that comes after corpses. Not nice things.
Let's try to make sure they don't become corpses animus.
Well, they technically can't if what I did is correct. Technically.
Yes. So let's make sure that we keep it that way.
I'm a little rusty, so I mean, if we come across a lich, then we're kind of SOL.
We may be SOL if there is a lich anyway.
True.
You complete your search of the bodies. Things of note: bones, teeth, bits of fur, detritus here and there, stuffed in pouches. A sum total of 61 gold, 4 platinum, and 132 silver. Not a wealthy bunch.
How much silver was it?
132.
Thank you. Is there any, aside from the symbol of Talos, is there any affiliation indicated with these guys? Was this a planned attack or a random attack?
The 3 Ogrillans have the symbol of Talos.
Yeah.
Again, it's sort of like burned or branded into a hardened leather patch, almost like a badge. It's very crudely done, as one might expect given the wearer. And then that badge or patch is, got a leather strap through it, and there's also those boar tusks, 3-4 on each one, kind of laying over top of that holy symbol. Other than that, no identifying anything. The bugbears are dressed in, hides. A few, like a gauntlet or a shoulder piece that might be spiked. Everything's mismatched, probably plundered. from what you could tell, it looked like they were working in concert. Like one wasn't attacking and then the other group came upon it. It looked like they were all focused on, these soldiers and their wagon and cart. But once things went badly, two of the bugbears, tried to bail to the east. And all around you is open grass, slightly rolling hills, an occasional tree or rock. It's pretty wide open. And they were making a beeline. You can, if you look around a little bit, you can see where they were sort of held up behind a couple of hillocks where they might have been just waiting for this little procession to come through and they ambushed. But beyond that, that's pretty much what you can glean from the scene.
Right. Okay. Did the were these guys who were running the cart have any oil or wood to spare to burn these bodies, because it's just going to attract scavengers otherwise?
There's all manner of building supplies, and I'm sure that between anyone on the party, you would probably have enough oil on you, to get a decent fire, burn pit, whatever you want to do.
Burn pit. Well,
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be respectful. It just needs to be a rather thorough burn.
Yeah, Clay will immediately set about, because some of the buckboard sideboards of the wagon were broken off. So he'll take the wood that was damaged and quickly begin to put together a fire and start dragging the bodies together, and immediately set to work on that at your suggestion.
Hopefully the more strength-based members of our party can help him as well.
Yeah. I'll drag whoever needs to go over into that pile, and I'll keep a vigilant watch basically on the horizon for anything, just in case any more ambushes or anything's attracted by smoke or anything like that, or the noise or whatever.
And
Okay.
Ethan's going to do the same while they're dragging. He's not going to drag bodies, but while they drag bodies, he's going to watch, keep a watch out in the direction that those bugbears were fleeing, to make sure nothing else is coming our way.
Yeah. Perfect. Go ahead and roll me perception.
Roll you perception.
Yes.
No,
an
can you
11.
do that flesh stripping thing on one of these bugbear skulls?
Well, I
mean,
got a 5, but you never asked me for my passive perception, which is super duper high. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
So I got a 5.
I feel like the only passive you are is passive aggressive, though.
My passive perception is a 17, if that matters.
Okay.
Mine's 15, if that matters.
Everyone's flexing.
Okay.
I'm just saying passive skills we should use.
So
We
you
should integrate.
you passively stand in the road, gazing eastward,
Right.
in a
I'm gonna
passive
look the other direction.
in a passive manner, and you happen to see nothing on the horizon, actually in any direction, as you passively mill about, occasionally casually glancing,
We can take that to the bank.
while checking your
There's
smartphone.
Right.
Yeah. Ezra, Tanner, Null, whoever else is helping, you easily get the bodies heaped off to the side, off the road, and burning in no time. And before you know it, the heat of the fire causes all of you to wish to move away. You do get some smoke. Of course, the stench of burning flesh and hair, kind of gnarly, but Clay seems satisfied. Job well done. Was there anything besides coin that you were going to take from the bodies before you burned them?
I'd probably take some flesh, probably a little blood, some bone if I can. Spell components.
All of those are in abundant supply. Yeah.
I won't need a lot, because I don't want to be carrying giant, weird, dripping
Dead bits.
hunks of flesh, but maybe an eyeball for
I'm
old
so
time's sake.
no, walking down the road with a bugbear paw or something.
Yeah.
Or bear, it's a bugbear claw as opposed to a bear claw. You don't.
I'll just have a hand and be waving at people. Hi.
Nice. Okay, so are you going to head north?
Yes.
Yeah, when the guard is done collecting bodies, Ethan is going to go up to him and say, Billy, these attacks, are they common in this area?
Well, Dave, the road is not safe, hence the number of guards. Clearly, we were overwhelmed by the strength and just brute force. And the road's not guaranteed safe all the time.
Well,
And there have been numerous attacks or attempted robbery of caravans. We're working to reestablish order on the high road, but as I'm sure you know, the high road is a long road between Waterdeep and Neverwinter, and it's difficult to keep every bit of it safe.
indeed, and it is clear to me that you were overwhelmed. I guess my question went to the servants of Talos. Have you seen this particular symbol before on bandits?
I don't recognize it. We should probably take a couple of those back and show my captain. And I'm sure you say you're going to have an audience with the Lord Protector?
Oh, indeed I am.
Hey, thanks for the follow, Arctic Nerd. Appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, so you should probably take one of those to your audience with Lord Neverember. Bujo Gamer, thank you for the follow, brother. Glad to have you.
I'm on it. I'll pull a dagger out, look around, go over and cut one of those, whatever thing with the symbol on it, off before it gets on fire.
Yep.
Yeah, that was good information to have before we threw them on the fire.
I mean, I can't do everything for you.
Fire is always like a hindsight thing, really. It's like, oh no, my house is on fire. Should have saved the kids. But
Oh well.
hindsight's 2020.
All right, I'm ready to head north.
You just want to get as far from Phandalin as possible, I feel.
Well, that is true. I spent plenty of time in the armpit of Faerun. I'm ready for bigger and better things.
Yes.
Nice.
We're going to the navel of Faerun.
All right, so Clay gets the wagon turned around on the road. The cart has been kind of refastened to the back. All of the deceased soldiers have been covered in the wagon so that no one would see them should you encounter anyone else on the road to Neverwinter. And he is leading the pair of horses sitting up on the buckboard, leading the team northward to Neverwinter. What would be your riding order on the road? How will you arrange that?
Our typical order, basically our default, where I take the rear, Ezra's in front, Magi somewhere in the middle,
So Ezra,
Tanner towards the front.
yeah, and you can go. I mean, you're on the high road, so you can ride side by side in pairs. So I'm guessing like Ezra and Tanner, maybe Null, Jacob, or maybe Jacob, Ethan, and then Null and Von Felt in the back.
Sure.
Jacob
No.
would be on the cart. Assuming we're
Yeah, because you were riding on someone's horse.
I was riding with Ezra.
So we'll put you on the wagon with Clay.
Yeah.
Then we'll put the wagon, and then Null, Von Velt. Okay, very good. So you begin to make your way northward. It is by the time you get done fussing around with the bodies and all of that, it's late afternoon. You're day 3 of a 5-day journey to Neverwinter, and you are back on your way. It is breezy and warm. The breeze is coming at you from your left side, right off of the Sea of Swords. On an occasional higher gust, you almost feel as if you notice a bit of salt on the wind, or the smell of the ocean. You're just a few miles inland from the coast at certain points along the way. Clay is silent. He does wear a medallion on a simple silver chain. It's like a pewter type medallion, and it's a medallion that has sort of a shield shape, and there are 3 snowflakes, 2 on the top and 1 on the bottom. Ezralyn, you would know that this is the heraldry of Neverwinter. It also matches. He has a very dark blue tabard with the 3 snowflakes on it, on a shield shape, over his chainmail, which has been, kind of torn and rent from the combat. But he is absolutely silent, just focused on running the horses, running the wagon, keeping things on the road, and he's deep in his own thoughts.
I'm gonna sort of ride up closer to him and like nudge him a bit and be like, I know this isn't easy. I'm sure some of them were your friends. Maybe all of them were your friends, but you will see them again one day when the time is right. I may not believe necessarily in an afterlife or whatever gods you may worship, but I do believe there is a place after, at least where your spirits will find peace. And I'm sure your friends are at peace.
He when you say all this, he kind of looks up at you and nods, kind of a half smile, and just kind of goes back to his thoughts. Supper time kind of comes and goes. Feel free to pull over and eat whenever you feel like it. You're getting no real commentary from Clay either way. But so far, the road has been quiet.
Too quiet.
All too quiet.
How about me?
You know, I have an important question for the group as we sit down to eat. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? Like, I've eaten some weird meats that have been questionable in my time, and I've never been too sure where they've come from. But, like, I can't think of the single weirdest thing I've eaten.
I may have cooked a little bit of that dragon for myself.
I don't know, that doesn't seem terribly weird. I mean, it is just a giant beast. Most beasts are pretty tasty. I'm not sure, but I think I've eaten people. I don't know. It's like really sketchy when you live in a commune of necromancers where some of the meat comes from in the winter, you know?
I believe we established a long time ago in this group that discussions about eating party members and other people were sort of taboo.
Well, I haven't eaten any of you guys.
Well, clearly, but still, we once had, before you came, we once had quite an uncomfortable conversation about turning people into jerky, and I think we agreed as a group that that we would not have those discussions anymore.
Well, I'm not saying like, oh, you guys must have eaten people, but surely you must have had some kind of weird cuisine from your travels. Food is a common ground for most every culture, so I like to learn a bit about people through food.
We all ate chili cooked by a kobold. I think that's weird.
Nah, that seems pretty
wrong?
standard.
Oh no. I don't think I've really eaten anything weird. I mean, I grew up in Waterdeep, and my mother was quite the lover of all things elvish. So she would bring in elvish, sweets and just ridiculous elvish things. Not that elves are ridiculous, my mother's ridiculous, but she would bring in these sweets and these foods and think they were the greatest thing in the world.
Hmm.
I always found that weird. Again, not the food itself.
I remember there was one time I was out in the woods with my friend, and he was a dark elf. He couldn't speak, so he was signing to me, and he told me about this trick that if you go up to a dead tree and rip off a huge chunk of it, you can find this really tasty bug. And it was just this fat, really gross, juicy looking grub. And he dared me to eat it. And I thought it was going to be delicious because he had told me it was. And it was apparently a really good joke that you play on your friends because it tasted like ass. So yeah, that's probably the weirdest thing I've ever eaten, sans the people, but
Well, that sounds like a good friend.
Yeah, I was a very trusting child. And he was a very, well, I don't know where he is. He might still be alive, so if he is, he's probably still an asshole.
Well, my mother used to tell me that dark elves are not very nice and you should stay away from them. So perhaps that's a lesson from her I can pass on to you.
Oh, I wouldn't. Queerus was not an asshole. I shouldn't say that. He liked to play jokes, but he was a very sweet boy. It was. I hope he's okay wherever he is.
I'm curious, when you say dark elf, do you mean that in the traditional sense, like he was an elf from the Underdark? Or was he a dark elf in some other meaning?
No, he was a drow.
Oh.
Yeah, he was like me. He was an orphan and raised by the necromantic commune I was in.
Well, that's interesting. It's my understanding that you don't find too many drow on the surface. I believe they have a hard time adapting to being on the outside, as it were.
I don't know how they came about him, if it was in the same manner as how the commune found and took me, but he was there, and he was, even amongst necromancers, kind of an outcast, but he never showed it. He always was very happy.
Well, I just wonder. I mean, the stories, again, they come from my mother, so I take them with a grain of salt. However, I believe that, or she would tell me that a drow that left the Underdark would be, I don't know, hunted by its own people. The penalty for leaving the Underdark, I believe, is death. So, if they're pursuing him,
It's not like he left willingly.
yeah, they may not say that way.
Well, if anyone came after Queers, they would be shit out of luck trying to catch him. He's fast, he's smart, and probably one of the most deadly necromancers I have ever seen.
We fought some drow, I believe, before you joined us.
Yes, and I remember I asked if you all had run into him, but none of the ones you ran into fit his description.
No, and the ones we ran into, with the exception of one, are now dead.
That's not a pleasant thought, but thanks. I really hope that someday I'll find him because, well, he was very, very dear to me. And I still have I have some things of his that he needs back, and I need some things back from him.
No, I know that your intention is to leave us once we leave, but once we reach Neverwinter. But I believe you're staying in Neverwinter and setting up some sort of establishment. And I would say to you that as my power as the Oracle of Savras grows, I will eventually gain the ability to use some of those items and perhaps give you some idea of where he is, and I would be happy to do that for you if you wanted me to do that.
That's really kind of you, Ethan.
Well, let's not go overboard.
Yeah, I don't want to make any assumptions about your character or any possible growth you may be experiencing, but I appreciate that. And maybe one day when you do have these abilities, I'll take you up on that. Part of me is afraid to know, because like your loved ones are alive as long as you don't know where they are, right? Something tells me I might not like the answer I get.
I'm a firm believer in knowledge is power. The more you know, the better.
Well, if I know my friend, I think that he'd be someplace safe and hidden.
My father used to tell me when I was younger that even if a person's gone, they're not really gone, not dead. Well,
it's very nice, but I'd rather have my husband back than missing.
Your husband, is that the same person as the drow? Or are those different people?
It's the same person.
I'm
Well, then getting answers seems very important.
I've spent the last over a decade searching pretty much every corner of Faerun for him. My last stop for looking was Phandalin.
Well,
I worry that either our paths are never going to cross again, or maybe he is back where I left the rest of my family. I want closure, but part of me is afraid of what closure would mean. So maybe if I stay in one place for long enough, he'll turn up. Maybe he's looking for me too.
perhaps. Regardless, my offer stands.
Oh. As terrifying as it would be for you to become more powerful, I sincerely hope you can help people with what you get.
Do I really imagine?
I really
a more
don't want
powerful
to.
version of the Oracle of Savras.
That's a scary thought, Ethan. It just...
I can guarantee you it makes my enemies shiver with fear at night. And that helps me sleep better.
Ethan, I think we should sincerely stop talking to each other now. Because I'm on the verge of liking you as a person, and I'm very afraid at what that might mean for me sanity-wise.
I'm on the verge of liking you, and I can't say that about many other people.
Only his traveling companion.
Well, thank you.
There's that voice in my head again.
So as you make your way northward, it's quiet on the road. It's breezy. The sun is starting to set in the western sky. Your stomach is telling you it's probably well past supper time. And it's been a quiet afternoon, other than your conversation.
Passive perception has been working well then.
Yeah, it's you've seen or heard no trace of any activity on the road or in the grasslands on either side of you.
So what time did you say it was?
It's early evening.
Early evening. Okay.
Yeah. It's,
Not not quite dark yet.
no, it's not quite dark yet, but you're probably hungry. Lunch was sort of interrupted by that's about the time you ran across the battle.
Well, perhaps we should stop and either have our dinner or maybe we rest for the night. I don't know what the others would like to do.
Yeah, I'm just gonna find us a spot.
Okay, the terrain you're in is absolute grasslands. It's a little bit hilly here and there. Maybe a hill high enough to pull the wagon behind so that it's not incredibly visible from the road. But there's no really great place for cover. But to that end, you'll also see and hear anything coming, unless, of course, it's invisible and stealthy, which, I mean, I would never, nothing like that would ever happen. So nothing to be concerned about.
That's good. So pull off, build whatever basic fire we need. Get some food going.
Excellent. Yeah, Clay will get that wagon kind of situated behind a hill, kind of trying to obscure it from the road as best as possible. Shouldn't have too much issue finding anywhere comfortable to sleep because, again, the grass at this time, it's past midsummer, so the grass is, to the average human is waist high. To Jacob, it's shoulder high. So easily able to bed down and got beneath the kind of the tops of the grass and that sort of thing.
Ethan's going to cast Galder's Tower.
Is this the Tower of Assholery?
No, it's the Tower of Great Humility.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had that confused. So for our newer viewers, give us a description of this spell, Ethan. Kind of what it's like when you cast it. What is this tower all about?
So, when Ethan casts the Galder's Tower, it takes him some time to do that. So he sits down by the nice fire that Von Felt has built, and he concentrates on his spell and thinks about it, and the words of magic go through his mind, and he softly chants, waves his hands in the gestures that are needed to cast the spell. And it takes 10 minutes to cast, and once he's cast it, he takes out of his spell pouch a piece of black obsidian that he uses as he casts the spell, and he manipulates the black obsidian in his hand, and as he does that, he finishes chanting the magic words to the spell after 10 minutes, and he takes the piece of black obsidian and he tosses it to a place just right next to where the camp is set up, and the piece of black obsidian starts spinning where he has tossed it, and out of it begins to sort of expand into a 10-foot by 10-foot base, and slowly but surely a tower that's 20 feet tall, 2 stories, grows where the piece of obsidian fell, and it's a black obsidian round tower. On the 2nd floor, you can see a window, and the window sort of glows with what is probably a fire up in that, whatever's in that room, and it's a nice inviting tower. And when he is done casting the spell, he stands up and he says to the party, "Well, good night, everyone." And he looks at Ezralin and he says, "Ezralin, would you join me in my study? I would like to discuss something with you."
Yeah. All right.
So at that point, he walks over to the tower and he opens the door and he motions Ezralin waves her in that she can enter the tower.
Ezra will discreetly and subconsciously to make sure her sword's there and she'll blow him in.
And then Ethan goes in and closes the door behind him. And once in the tower, it's a 10 by 10 foot circular room, and it's a study. He motions you to a nice looking, comfortable chair that's sitting in front of a big, ornate wooden desk with an even larger chair, fancier chair behind it. He motions you to the chair, and he walks around the desk and sits in the other chair. Please have a seat. Make yourself comfortable.
Ezra will sit down and lean back, cross her legs, do her usual thing.
And Ethan opens up a drawer of the desk, and he reaches in and he pulls out like a scroll, and he says, "I've been thinking about our discussion, and my suggestion that once we reach Waterdeep, that we attack and destroy this asylum that I had mentioned. And I had been given this some thought, and I wanted to make sure that you understood that I am, well, you might say I'm all in on such an attack. And I have been giving some thought to what that attack might look like. And I thought I would run my preliminary plans by you and see if you have any thoughts or suggestions on how we might improve that plan to ensure that we bring an end to these evildoers. So with your permission, I would like to show you what I have so far.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. And so he takes the scroll, he unrolls it, and he puts it on the desk. And you can see on the scroll there's a map that's been drawn on the scroll. And he says, so this is a map that I have drawn of the asylum. Now, keep in mind, I've done it from memory, and I last resided in the asylum a little over a year ago. So my information is dated, but I believe it's still accurate. So here's my plan. And he points to an area that he's drawn. This is when you enter the asylum, you would have to get past this point, and to go, if you go this way, and he points in a direction on the map, this is where they house the inmates. And there are, at any given time, I would estimate, based on my experience, there are between 2 to 3 dozen inmates. And so my thought is that once we penetrate the asylum, we immediately head to this area and release the inmates, because that will unleash dozens of the criminally insane and will keep the guards busy while we head to this portion where they keep the people who are doing the medical experimentations, and we can destroy them while their guards are kept busy with what I am certain would be quite an uprising. And he leans back in his chair.
Okay. So, what's the guard rotation like? How many guards are there? How many exits, entries, locked doors,
Well, so
man in the middle traps?
I don't know all the answers to those things, because as a resident of this facility, I was not privy to all of that information. I can tell you that I am aware of 2 entrances. The one I just showed you, which is the main entrance, and then this area is a kitchen, and he points to an area on the map. And if this is how, once I was, what's the word I would use? Released or checked myself out, whatever word you want to use. I left through this kitchen area, and there is a door in the back that leads to an alleyway, and that is how I left. The number of guard rotations I am unsure of, but I can tell you that I was able to avoid guard rotations um, when I had sufficient information to do so. So I believe that they are overconfident, if you will, in their ability to protect themselves. So I think we would have no difficulty in accomplishing this task, especially if we release the inmates. And don't forget that I have the ability to summon creatures from the very depths of hell itself, which I would be happy to do in an effort to create further chaos for the guards.
Okay. Ethan, what time of the day did you leave the asylum?
Broad daylight. Broad daylight.
Okay. Were the guards aware that you checked yourself out of the facility?
Well, I think not. I had inside information. Well, inside information is perhaps not the correct term. I had information that I was able to use to divine, if you will, where the guards would be, when they would be, and I was able to use that information to walk out.
Okay, so you escaped an asylum.
You say escape. I take issue with that word. I think one escapes from an asylum when one is properly in an asylum. I believe one leaves an asylum when one doesn't belong there.
Okay. How long were you a resident there?
Well, I was there for, let me think, I was there for roughly 5 years. So I got to know the facility quite well.
Ethan, how old are you?
I am almost 17.
You've been in there since you were put in there when you were 11.
10, but yes.
Who put you in there?
Well, that's a good question. Up until recently, I thought I knew who did that, but now I wonder. But look, you have to understand. I mean, first of all, let me reassure you of the death grip that I have on sanity itself. There is no one more sane than I am, first of all. Second of all, you have to understand that I have heard voices in my head since I can first remember. My very first memories are being tormented by the demon that I've mentioned to you before. And that is, that is not a common trait you find amongst people. And when I was old enough to express concerns, I went to my mother and I told her that I am tormented by a demon. And my mother, you have to understand, was a simpleton, really. And she assumed that when I told her that I was possessed by a demon, which is ridiculous, because if you're possessed by a demon, the demon controls you in some manner, right? This creature, I can assure you, has no control over me. It torments me as I sleep and recently as I walk around. However, it has no control over me. So my mother's a simpleton, but she assumed that I was possessed by a demon. And what do you do if your loved one, I guess I was her loved one, is tormented by it, is possessed by a demon, you, especially someone of my parents' stature, they have some, or they had some means. I don't know what they have now. But my mother hired um, exorcists from Waterdeep and places beyond to try to release the demon, which is absurd. And as you might have guessed, these exorcists failed to do that, and they're prideful people. They want people to believe that they can remove demons from people. So when they fail, they try to cast blame on something else. So they began to convince my mother that in fact I was correct and not possessed by a demon, but I was insane. So my mother, at their suggestion, sent me to this medical facility for treatment.
Okay, I'm on board so far. What were the experiments that you were talking about? What were they doing to people?
Well, so I told you I could prove it to you, and I'll prove it to you. But one day I was brought in to a room and laid on a table, and one of the doctors produced a knife. And this knife, I can, to this day, to this very day, I can remember feeling the knife as it entered my skull and began, or entered my head and began to cut into my head. I can still feel the tip of the knife glancing off of my skull.
Israel kind of discreetly look for a scar.
I can remember feeling the hot blood pouring down my face, the pain excruciating. However, as luck would have it, if you can consider any of this lucky, there was an alarm that was raised by one of the guards that the facility was under attack. And the procedure ended, and I was stitched up and returned to my cell. But they wanted to examine my very brain because they claimed that would give them information to cure what they perceived to be insanity. Who's the insane one, really?
On Foot's playing dice with Tanner.
Ethan will then move back his hair. He's got really thick, curly, messy, like he never combs it. It's really thick and curly hair, and he pulls it back, and you can see a scar that goes into his hairline, and it looks like, and then he just puts it back, and it looks to you like it goes deeper into his skull line. And as someone who knows combat wounds and what combat wounds look like, this particular wound looks different. It doesn't look like someone was moving around when it was inflicted upon them. It looks, I don't know, dare we say, surgical in nature.
All right, so I'm on board, but this has to be this is long game. If you want this to actually be effective, not just we run in, blow things up, kill people. If you want this to be effective, to actually fully stop what's happening, this is a long game. We gather information, we gather resources, we plan this. Preferably, we get people on the inside.
Well, and again, I believe that I hear everything you're saying, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. I believe that if we were to further develop this plan and we released these criminally insane folks who are in the asylum, I believe we would be hailed as liberators, and that they would definitely assist us in that effort.
Okay, I understand that some patients were there against their will, like you were, but are some of those criminally insane people there? Were they sentenced there after doing some very heinous things?
Oh, probably. I will tell you that.
We're not going to release them into water deep. That
Of
would
course,
make the situation
of course not.
worse.
Of course not. I think that yeah, some of them. Yeah, I'm not going to say everyone was there against their will. Some of them are indeed criminally insane. Again, they would still welcome us as liberators. I'm certain of that. However, I after this experience, this attempted surgery that was stopped only because the facility came under attack, and I heard later some of the guards talking, and that the attack was perpetrated by Knowles, which I find odd, since we've encountered Knowles since. Um, and as I've mentioned before, I believe Knowles sometimes serve at the pleasure of the demonic, and so I believe my I'm not sure what to call him. I call him my tormentor. I believe my tormentor actually orchestrated the attack on the facility to stop the procedure, and it is certainly with his help that I escaped. But in any event, after the surgical procedure, after I recovered, I told some of my fellow inmates what had happened, and I asked them if any of the others had suffered a same fate. And I can assure you that each and every one of them that I spoke to had a similar experience. And as each of them spoke about their experience, the next one's experience was even stranger and more bizarre. And it just went down the line as each of them, their suffering was worse and worse and strange and worse. It was quite horrific.
All right. I didn't, but you know I don't do reckless.
I'm not asking you to do reckless. I believe that we can plan this in a smart and intelligent way, and then we can rain down vengeance on those who have deserved to have vengeance rained down upon them. And again, just to tie up loose ends in a nice, pretty bow, I told you that I had my vision where I saw my parents' home burn, and I think you can understand why that's a pleasant vision for me, because it's only at their hand that I ended up in this facility.
Oh, yeah, I get that now. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Yeah.
Well, and I'll leave you with one further tidbit. I had another vision from my tormentor. Vision is maybe not a vision. He spoke with me recently, a couple of nights ago, and he seemed to suggest that my this planned attack would be too late, and I'm not quite sure what that means or why he would say that. Um, because, as I said, it was only with his help that I was able to leave the facility in the first place. He may be trying to just, do what he always does and uh, throw out misinformation just to play his games. I don't know, but he did say that.
Do you think he's the source of your power?
No, Oh no, I believe no. I believe that our fates are somehow intertwined. How I don't, or how or why I don't know, but he has taken some bizarre interest in me. So that leads me to conclude that he believes our fates are somehow intertwined. If he wanted to kill me, I assume he would have the ability to do that. He seemed unimpressed also that I was able to summon denizens from the very depths of hell itself, which I find, again, I find difficult to believe. I'm sure he was quite surprised.
I'm at a loss for words.
Well, there's nothing we need to decide on tonight. I just wanted you to know that I had given this some additional thought and that I have the beginnings of what I think is a plan of attack. We, of course, can refine that plan as we move along, um, but I wanted to run the uh, beginnings of the plan by you, so you can think about it and make suggestions as they come to you.
All right. I think we're off to a good start, but I've passed through Waterdeep. I've not spent a large amount of time up there. Usually it's just spend a few days and head back up north. Uh, I'll have to. We're gonna have to spend some time there, learn the land, the lay of the land, as I should say. This is gonna take more resources. We don't have enough expertise in the looming eye right now. This is big. I hope you know that you're gonna have to be patient.
Well, of course, patience is one of my many virtues, but I think that we'll be ready when the time comes. Don't underestimate the looming eye. I can understand why you might underestimate some of it, but don't. We'll rise to the occasion.
I don't underestimate it. But can I offer some advice?
Oh, of course.
Be a little nicer to the other members, and they'll be a lot more interested in helping you achieve this.
I
You get
will,
more flies with honey than you do vinegar.
indeed, and I will endeavor to do that very thing.
When we get to Neverwinter, we're gonna find you a book on how to be a people person,
Mm.
or 7 habits of effective wizard, or something. We're gonna get you a book. That'll help this, okay?
Indeed, I look forward to that. That will certainly have a treasured place in my library. And he points to the bookshelves surrounding his desk with all the books in them.
Yeah. Definitely gonna need you to get a book, son. Okay. Are we gonna tell the rest of the party about this, or are we gonna wait till we have to think a bit more?
Well, I've told you because you're my traveling companion. I believe that we should, Noel's on the way out. Um, let's play it by ear. We'll tell them. I think they're on a need to know basis. How about that? Once they need to know, we can tell them. I mean, you know.
Successful companies don't have high turnover.
Well,
We need to work on employee retention.
yes, you can sometimes blame management for retention problems. I don't think management is to blame in this instance. I think we've done a fine job here. It's just that sometimes We just haven't attracted the right people, unfortunately, and we'll work on that. Perhaps this book will help.
I hope so.
Indeed. I always endeavor to better myself.
That's good. Definitely gonna have to pick you up maybe one or two for myself. Dealing with difficult people. Yeah, my background's military, so.
Well, we're a good team, I think. We've come this far.
I'm tired.
Well,
I'm gonna go to bed.
good night, and thank you for listening. And he rolls up the scroll and he puts it back in his desk drawer and shuts it.
Is just gonna not back out. He's gonna close the tower door of assholery and just
Tower of Great Humility.
what have I done? What have I gotten
Nice.
myself into?
You okay, Ezra? Mel's gonna like see you looking visibly shaken.
No. I'm rethinking every decision I've made in the past 30 years.
How old are you?
35.
So there's 5 years of like no worries, right?
Yeah.
Let's try to focus on those 5 for right now. I've heard that Neverwinter has some great therapy.
I'm hoping that or some really good booze.
That too.
Why did I start a company with him?
I don't know. I ask myself that a lot. You know, he's like 17, right?
Well, there was more of us when we signed the papers.
I feel like maybe when I'm gone, you should look for some older folks, like octogenarians, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
really even out the crazy with a little grandma touch.
Keyword there, yeah. Again, you will need like can I sweep floors in your shop maybe someday for vacation?
You can come and just hang out and then yell at people all you want.
Like that, I think. I don't think I want to be an adventurer anymore.
You see, that's what I'm thinking, but I feel like you've been traumatized. I'm just at a good place in my life to retire.
You know, that's the thing. I went to Fenland because they were in need of guards. Guarding that town was going to be my retirement. I was going to sit in a bar in the evenings and talk to people and be a local. And look where I fucking am now. I'm back to following an asshole wizard around. The last one tried to fucking try to kill me so he could become a lich.
Ooh.
This.
Is that what that is? I thought it was a birthmark.
No, she'll like pull back her shirt and pull up her arm. No, it's damage from a necromancy spell thing. Why do I do this myself?
I don't know. I'm just gonna pull you into a hug.
Ezra will actually let you hug her. It's just like.
You know, I have some really good, strong, distilled spirits that I use for potion and I use for spell components, but if you need a drink, I will let you into my secret stash.
Do you really want to take something from a necromancer called spirits? Do you really want to do that?
It'll kill some brain cells so I don't remember the last 15 minutes of conversation and I can go to sleep. fucking give it to me. And she's just gonna wander over to the fire, just plop down and just stare into the flames.
So we have a dice game going on between Tanner and Von Felt. Is that correct? We have
this whole time.
we have Null. Excuse me. Thank you for that advantage there, Andrew. I'll mark that on my sheet. We have Null and Ezra locked in a warm embrace. What is Jacob doing for all of this? Headache. Yes. Taking your goodies headache powders, right?
Yeah, sorry. Well, we just arrived. Ethan set up his tower or whatever. So I guess cooking dinner. Can't think of anything right now. Definitely not fried bugbear.
Nice. Okay, so before too long, a toothsome smell begins to permeate the camp. I assume you've got maybe a small fire going. You're all kind of sitting around either near the tower, near the wagon and cart. Clay is fussing about with the bodies. He has put on a gray cloak, which is the same sort of vestment that the bodies are wrapped in. Each of the warriors apparently had a gray cloak that they would wear over their chain, and their breastplate where the heraldry resides. Tanner and Von Felt, anything on your dice game going on there?
Yeah, just casual.
Okay.
Picking his brain on stealth techniques. Yeah, you're good.
Sure that's the guy you want to ask about?
That's
Oh,
like the last
of course
15
he is.
minutes.
Of course I am.
Jacob's busy, so. Yeah.
I'll happily give you some pointers.
Ethan, you were awarded an advantage from Fellowship of the Tables, who seemed to think that your role-playing was wonderful.
Thank you, Fellowship of the Tables.
Yeah. And Ezra was also given an advantage from Arctic Nerd as perhaps a bit of salvation or reward for putting up with that. And Fellowship of the Tables hit me with a DM advantage to up my total to 11. So that's exciting. Yes, and it is, by now it is, the sun is set low in the western sky. Jacob has put together a very savory, stick to your ribs sort of a road stew. Probably not best to ask of its contents necessarily. And all's quiet. Those of you who are passively perceiving, it is quiet save the occasional breeze across the grass tops and the distant howl of a coyote out in the grasses, answered by the appropriate howls from various locations, none of which are approaching your location.
Are we gonna do watch, or are we all gonna just pull a Van Felt and
No, we're gonna do
hope for the
watch.
best?
We always do watch. As Jacob is serving up, he'll approach Ezra and say, "So, you were in there for a while. What's Ethan up to?"
This is gonna try even your patience. Please don't leave. Please stay. Please stay with the company. I will make you a fool, or just please don't go. You're sane. I appreciate your friendship.
Well, thank you.
Wow.
Left
Water.
eye's twitching.
Yeah, Ezra's gonna be smiling really creepily.
That's a watershed moment for Ezra. Wow.
Ethan said some pretty crazy stuff lately. Yeah, it's just sort of wondering what's going on there.
I found some stuff out some things that's truly heartbreaking. It's not exactly my place to tell his story for him. But I kind of want to crack a few heads on that part. But there's some also things he wants to do, a few plans that
Where are these things happening?
Waterdeep.
Uh-huh. Like, I saw the last plan that he came up with that involves summoning demons. Not my favorite thing. And Waterdeep's not a place where you want to fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
It's run by Lariel Silverhand, who's a lot more powerful than Mr. Tower over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have a lot of laws around fucking around and finding out.
I do want to look. I want to see if what he's is true. I think both.
I can slap him in a circle, a zone of truth here, and we'll get the truth of it out of him.
It's Ethan. What he believes is true and is actually true are two different things.
Yeah. I just worry about that stretching of truth from one conman to another.
Yeah. We'll cross that bridge when we got to.
As long as it doesn't get burned along the way.
Yeah.
While we're on it.
While we're on it, yeah. There's things I want to look at. Possible experimentation on kids. Very neat. Even if we're able to bring it to the attention of someone else, rather than, attacking it and destroying it ourselves.
Well,
Yeah.
There's
things I want to. There's things I want to look into.
Yeah. The problem with attacking something is you got to be sure that the whole thing is gone. The dragon, that was easy. The dragon was identifiable. It's one creature. You got rid of it. Everything's good. Organizations are harder to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to understand if this is going to happen, the scope. And frankly, I think we need to get support of the local, some power faction in Waterdeep so that we don't get hell rained down on us for interrupting somebody's playtime.
Yeah.
Now, get me.
Exactly.
I don't subscribe to the theory that kids should be abused in any way, shape, or form. But I think we need a little more than maybe Ethan say so that bad things are going on. And if we try to do what Ethan seems to like doing of raining hell on people, we'll get into a lot of trouble.
No, we'll die. No.
That kind of fits into a lot of trouble.
Yeah. I'm willing to look into it.
I got some friends I can ask about this stuff and see if there could be something that's done more on the channels that won't get us thrown in jail or summarily executed.
I'm not calling it off the top of my head, but I know Ethan's name and I know what Ethan's name supposedly is, and I know the asylum. I'll remember them and write them down for you. The player doesn't remember.
That's okay.
When we get to.
We got to get to Neverwinter first.
Yeah.
Got some hustles to get done in Neverwinter, and we'll figure out what our alignment is and resources from there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was supposed to retire, man. I was gonna retire.
Sweetheart, you're too young to retire. Too young and too good looking. Come on.
No.
That said, I can usually, between you and me, one of my usual cons is passing as a human kid, so I can easily get in there. But I'm not saying I want to help. I have issues with the person we're trying to help, but I understand your desire to help.
Ethan's done me a solid once or twice. So, before you came along, willing to at least look into this. But
Also try some healing on him, see if that fixes his head.
They did shit. Truth or not of it, don't know.
Always
But
find out.
talk to him. See if you can get something from somewhere.
Talking to Ethan makes my head hurt.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually kill brain cells here. If I had some sort of fume to huff, I would. I'm going to sleep. And she just
Here.
walks away, finds a blanket, just literally just kind of falls into a lump and just tries to sleep.
Okay.
It's been a stressful while.
Wait, do you not want
Ezra-
some of this alcohol?
Well, actually, what Jacob's going to do is take out one of his flasks and toss it to Ezra and say, "Here, finish it. You need it more than I do." And it's a nice brandy.
He doesn't taste the brandy. Down and pumped over sleep.
Noel's just gonna slowly like pour a cup of their home brewed. Basically, it's like moonshine, but like twice as potent, and just like push it slowly towards Ezra and be like, "It's over 200 proof."
It's
Stay
straight
away
up
from the fire.
grabbing back. Go back to sleep.
You probably have to make a con save after that one,
Yeah.
honestly.
Probably.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because it's like corn grain moonshine.
Yeah, let's-
looking to be out cold.
Let's see what you got there on that con save.
Where's 20. 30, 20.
Nice. So you're sleepy, but you're not like you haven't poisoned yourself.
Okay, well, she tried. She's just gonna sleep now.
Oh, yeah.
No watch.
Poor,
Yeah.
poor sweet child.
So let's set our watches. Clay will post watch at the open end of the wagon, standing there at what appears to be attention, longsword drawn, tip gently pointed to the earth, both hands resting on the pommel. Who would like to take first watch?
I'll go first.
Okay, no. Who else?
Tanner,
Like, Nolan Tanner, first watch. Okay. Who'll take second watch?
I will.
Von Phil? Okay. Ezra, you're going to take the dawn watch per usual if you're able to be. No? Okay, so Jacob, you got the
Nope.
sunrise, looks like.
Yeah, it's good for me.
Very well. Okay.
Ethan's gonna lock his tower.
Ethan's going to lock his tower, yes, of course. So, one by one, you all recede into your own thoughts. It's quiet. It's the kind of night that summer night that, the breeze has come down, the air mass has cooled and lightened considerably. No humidity at this point. And it's probably comparable to a 69, 70 degree Fahrenheit summer evening. Barely any breeze. And the only thing that could probably make it better are Gandalf's fireworks if they were going off overhead. It's just a perfect summer night. There's a very clear night sky, just bedazzled array of stars. All you hear are the little bugs that make little chirpy, creaky sounds in the grass, little crickets and katydids and things, and it is just quiet beyond that. And each watch passes uneventfully, save again for the occasional howl of what you assume to be some coyotes well off to the east. And the following morning dawns very, very clear. The sun rises far in the east, of course, and brings light upon the camp. Clay has fallen asleep at the end of the wagon. He's just kind of leaned up against it with his sword, kind of resting, tipped down, resting up his shoulder. And Jacob, you're the only one awake at this point.
Good. All right. Sorry, so we've had a long rest. That's right.
Yeah, everybody can mash the long rest button. You can rouse your fellow campers if you wish, and set about the business of breaking camp and hitting the road.
Yeah. Well, we'll start off with some fresh bread and bacon.
Very nice. Clay will just get busy checking and securing the wagon, the cart. He'll actually step out around the hillock and make his way up to the road just to have a look and come back to report that there appears to be no movement or any signs of movement on the road overnight or currently.
That's good. Get everything sliced up and good to go. Put on a big pot of coffee because someone's probably going to be hungover.
Ethan's going to come out of his tower in the morning and join the others for breakfast. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all slept well.
Did you?
Oh, indeed I did, Tanakin Skywalker. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Ethan, remember?
I believe that was quite pleasant. And just between all of us, I didn't say what I was actually thinking. So I would call that growth.
This Ethan is scary.
Don't. My teeth feel like they've grown fur. The hell was in that stuff? No, I don't think it was bread.
Let's see. You don't want to know what was in it?
What did you do to me?
It's just really strong stuff that could knock out a minotaur.
Probably
Sounds
some
right.
Probably coffee would help that.
You see, my friend told me that the trick to getting a hangover is to never stop drinking, because then you'll never get hungover.
That doesn't work. Trust me. I've tried that. It doesn't work.
I've never drank alcohol before, really, so I'm just taking his word for it at this point.
It's a nice theory, but you do eventually end up real sick.
Possibly dead if you drink enough, I think.
Yeah, DT suck.
Here, Ezra, have some coffee. Hands her the jug.
Thank you.
Made some fresh bread as well. Don't know if you can handle the bacon.
Ezra sipping the coffee and silently praying. You just see her lips moving every once in a while.
The morning
Point
is
for the ride.
the morning is clear. It's beautiful. There is again the wind has come up again out of the west. You do notice, for anybody kind of studying the skies, that there seem to be more seabirds above the high road than there were in Phandalin. Again, you're closer to the Sea of Swords, but it is a fair, clear, not humid, but warm summer morning. And by the time you all fuss about with breakfast and getting that all taken care of, Clay does drink some coffee. Thanks you quietly, Jacob, for the bread and bacon, and then gets the team, the horses, hooked up to the wagon and gets the wagon pulled back up on the road and is ready to head out when the party is ready to break camp and leave.
As we're doing that, when Ethan finishes his breakfast, he's going to say to Jacob, I must say, that was a very delicious breakfast. And then he's going to look at Ezra and go,
And as Jacob's cleaning up the dishes and doesn't notice this, I'm going to pass by Ezra and just give her a tap with lesser restoration to get rid of the rest of that hangover.
it's the D&D version of hangover.
Right. Nice.
That's a wonderful morning.
Okay, so back on the road.
Let's do it.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Very well. You make your way up onto the road. Clay waits for Ezra and Tanner to take the lead, and he helps Jacob up onto the buckboard of the wagon. And then Null and Von Felt, I presume you fall in behind the wagon, and you begin your journey northward. A quiet morning, just a beautiful day to be out and alive. A sentiment felt by probably all of you but one. Poor Ezra, suffering from. Of course, you're probably feeling better now after greater or lesser restoration, but still,
She suffers from knowing too much.
she suffers from
Burden of knowledge.
information that lesser restoration cannot cure. Yes.
I don't have modified memory yet.
Yeah. And so you make your way northward, and it's a quiet trip. You make it all through the morning. Clay suggests that you take your lunch on the road so that we can keep moving. He's anxious to get back to the city and, explain to his superiors what happened on the road and obviously take care of his fallen comrades. And so if everybody's amenable to that, he seems pretty insistent that you not, stop moving to eat lunch.
Okay. I'm willing to keep going.
Okay. Mid-afternoon, Ezra and Tanner, you see some forms, some silhouettes on the highway ahead of you, several hundred yards. They appear to be on horseback. And as you make your way northward, they appear to be getting larger in size and making their way closer to you. And it looks like there are three humanoid-shaped people, several hundred yards off yet, on horseback, approaching the party on the road.
We'll alert the rest of the group that we've got visitors approaching.
I was ready.
Clay stands on the wagon and looks. It's not uncommon that there might be riders. Most people we have to concern ourselves with on the road probably wouldn't be riding openly, or would be, but they'd be in much greater numbers. So, obviously be wary, but it's not likely that we'll find too much trouble from these three. And he kind of sits back down.
How far away from Neverwinter do you think we are now, Clay?
You're about a day and a half out, so probably about 40 miles, give or take, 35, 40 miles.
Should we just maybe move our party to one side of the road to give them? We can keep going, but just kind of give them half the road and see what they do.
Or we could play chicken.
Aren't we on the high road with enough space?
The road is certainly wide enough
Oh,
for a wagon to pass either direction with room in between. It's the main northwest highway along the Sea of Swords.
shall we just keep going and see what happens?
Okay. Fair enough. Let's see. Yeah, so you see as they get closer, you have two human-sized folk, rather slender silhouette in dark green cloaks on horseback, and then a much smaller person, perhaps a child, on a pony, a smaller pony. And they ride up, and the smaller one, as you get close, you realize is a halfling. And he is also in a green cloak. They're all wearing leathers. They have bows and short swords. They look to be dressed for the road, dressed for adventure. and they kind of pull up, rear their animals back to a stop and kind of clip clop up to you, looking you over very carefully, and they kind of stop. Hail, where do you head? The two larger ones appear to be half elven, one male, one female. The male half elf is speaking. Where are you headed?
Ezra's aware she's not friendly looking. She's just going to step back and let somebody else go.
Well then, I guess I'll step on.
Yeah,
I'll
Tanner,
say
you're
we're-
in front with Ezra. Yep.
Yep. We are heading to Neverwinter.
Ah, yes, we come from there. I'm Jamalor, and this is Faithana. With us is Robin, and we are headed southward along the road. You'll find the way clear from here to Neverwinter. At least we left yesterday, and it's been clear heading this way.
Those no reports of any bugbears or other types of creatures attacking, because we've encountered those on our journey.
Oh, have you? Do tell. And they kind of lean over and look at the soldier. Clay kind of nods, and you can tell Clay is looking them over very carefully, as maybe a soldier might, but he doesn't really say much.
And they seem to be relaxed and not, hands aren't like creeping towards sword hilts or anything.
No, kind of holding reins in hand. They seem to be quite relaxed, quite pleasant. The only thing that you notice about them, just as a cursory glance, is they seem to be kind of sizing everyone up, taking stock of what they're seeing. The halfling kind of wheels his pony around them, up to the wagon and smiles, looks at Jacob. Ah, well met, friend. And kind of leans over to shake hands to Jacob. Robin Gamage. Well met.
Well met, Jacob Everfleet. How are you, brother?
Ah, very well, very well. Brother of Brandabaris, I see. Well met.
Aye.
And you see openly displayed a holy symbol of the halfling deity.
Yep. Same. We give ourselves the secret handshake.
Yes. So, what takes you to Neverwinter, friends? Robin Gamage asks the group.
We've been summoned by the Lord himself.
His eyes get really big. Well, that's exciting. What pray tell? Or
Something
perhaps
about
I
a
shouldn't
dragon.
ask. And he kind of backs away like, whoa.
Something about a dragon that got slain and Fandolin is saved and his protectorate is all good, that sort of thing.
You must be the company of the looming eye.
Yeah.
Well, songs are already being written. Tales are already being told. You've slain the great worm, Cryovane.
It wasn't that great, but yeah. We took some tenderloin back to Fandolin and it got turned into chili.
Ah, yes. What is that? Dragon's Fire Chili. Yes,
That's
I know
the
it
one.
well. We've been through there many times.
Ah, yeah. Good friends with the cook. She
The
makes some good
two
chili.
the two half elves kind of smile and watch, and just kind of let Robin do the talking. They stay back. Again, everybody's dressed for adventure, hunting. They're definitely wearing what you would consider to be kind of adventure-y, travel-y, leather armor all the way around with the cloaks. The cloaks don't match. They all are in various shades of green, but they're not like uniform matching cloaks.
Yeah, that takes effort. God, something in my head now is gone. Yeah, I tell them if you're heading south, pats the wagon and the contents. Unfortunately, this lot met an ill end with bugbears and oberlons working together, so you might want to be careful.
Oh, pray goodness, that's terrible. These are all militia from Neverwinter. Lord Protector will be very unhappy to receive these tidings. You say
well-
bugbears and ogrillons.
Working together.
The two half-elves look at each other curiously, kind of throw their cloaks back. Would you mind terribly if perhaps we prayed over them?
Oh, please do.
And
My
Clay
friend
kinda-
Noel here is
eyes
things
them.
out.
Clay eyes them suspiciously. He kind of leans into you quietly. Do you think that's a good idea? I don't know these folk.
It's prayer, man. What could go wrong?
Hey, Wiley, the half elves. There's a male and a female.
Yes.
They look like fightery types.
If you had to assign a class to them just based on their appearance, you might think more like a ranger, forester. They're equipped with short swords and longbows. Von Feld, if you want to make a perception, I presume all of you are sort of giving them the good look over.
I have a 22.
Yeah, these bows that you see strapped to their backs, kind of sticking up above their shoulder, and you see the fletching part of the arrows sticking up. Finely crafted, elven-made bows and arrows. Very, very nice. Made of yew, Y-E-W.
Yep.
Finely crafted.
IOU.
Well, there's also the female sheep.
Yeah.
There is now, isn't there? Yes.
I don't know.
Scott, while this conversation's going on, Ethan is going to cast Detect Thoughts on the dude half elf, the
Okay.
dude elf.
There's
And
nothing says loving and trust like reading someone's mind.
why should we trust anybody?
Indeed, that's the question I ask every day.
Okay,
So-
so you can read some thoughts.
I initially learned the surface thoughts of the creature. What is most on its mind in that moment?
Yeah, so you're getting a distinct, strong curiosity and questioning and perceiving. They're just trying to make sense of who you are, why you're out here heading to Neverwinter. They're almost as if to see if your story about bugbears and Ogrillons, the fallen soldiers, all adds up.
I'm going to probe deeper into his mind. So he gets a wisdom saving throw, but I'm giving him a 3 with my portent.
I'll just put the...
Well, he gets whatever gets whatever his wisdom bonus is.
Yes, unfortunately, probably insufficient. What's the DC on the wisdom save?
15. So if he's
Plus
particularly
13 is
wise.
actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can. So if it fails, I gain insight into the creature's reasoning, if any, its emotional state, and something that looms large in its mind.
Okay, I'm typing in Zoom chat for you.
And if I can get to Zoom, I don't know what it is.
Okay. Yeah, so you're going through all of this.
If I may, I want to look at Clay and then just be like, you did say we were in a hurry, didn't you?
I'm gonna drop my spell.
Okay, he did make the intelligence roll, but he only rolled a 7. So it probably wouldn't have succeeded against yours. Clay looks at you. Yes, we do wish to make haste to get the fallen back to their families. At which point, hearing this, Faithana rides up on her horse beside the wagon. If I may, good soldier, I wish to pray over you and your fallen comrades. And she produces a wood-carved symbol hanging around a beautiful, looks like maybe a platinum chain. And it's very delicate looking. And it's in the shape of a unicorn.
Lucky.
If I may. And Clay kind of looks at her, looks at the holy symbol, kind of eyes the male, and then you see this look of, kind of dawn on him, and he says, yes, I would very much like the blessing of Miliki upon us. And he bows his head. And she moves over and she kind of puts a hand on his head. and very, very faintly you hear her speaking, but it's not loud enough for you to make it out. And she holds her other hand kind of over the wagon, and for about 30 seconds she goes through some sort of prayer, incantation, who knows. And when she finishes, he looks up and has tears in his eyes and almost can't meet her gaze as she smiles kindly. And he goes to speak, and she just kind of, and he just lowers his head, kind of wipes his eyes. Maliki's blessing will go with all of you, but mostly with the souls of our departed. And J. Malor, the other half-elf, nods, pulls out his holy symbol to Maliki, and looks at the group. We often patrol the road and even as far east as Neverwinter Wood. And you say Ogrillons
Aye.
and bugbears working together.
Yeah, and I'll pull out one of the symbols of Talos that was taken off the Ogrillons. They had these.
You see the, you don't need to roll an insight to kind of see the blood leave their faces when they see that. I don't know the precise juxtaposition between Talos and Maliki in the Pantheon, but they can't be friends, possibly, right? Talos is all about storms, destruction. Maliki, all about nature, life, preservation, goodness. Talos is at work.
Scott, out of game for a moment here. We actually saw these things shapeshift too, didn't we?
Yes, one of them did shapeshift into a boar. You are correct. That did happen. I'd forgotten
A
about
giant boar, if I recall.
that. Yes.
So I'll mention that as well.
Faithana's eyes kind of roll back in her head as she thinks, and then she looks at Gemalor rather sideways. And this whole time, Robin Gamage, on his little pony, has kind of leaned back, pulled out a small pipe, and lit it, packed it, lit it, while he listens. Yes, those must have been shamans of some sort. Anchorites, I believe they're called, of Talos. They have the ability to shapeshift. Did they wield magic, perhaps? Lightning, particularly.
No, we didn't have that. The one shapeshifted, they were using boar's heads with tusks for weapons on their fists.
As gauntlets.
Gauntlets,
Yes, yes, these are shamans of Talos. Ogrillons. Normally they're orcs. Interesting. They kind of just, they're just kind of thinking. We must look into this on the road. How far back did you say that this... And this happened in broad daylight, and they kind of look at the soldier who looks up and nods. Yes, we were making our way to Leylon, and we were waylaid right on the road, right in the middle of the late morning, almost noontime. And it's almost as if they're, they're doing everything except writing it all down. Very studious, very observant, listening. And when did this occur? She asks.
Day passed. You might even see the black smudge of the burning bodies behind us.
Okay. Very well. So the battle site should be easy enough to find then. Very good.
Oh yeah. The smell doesn't find it, the smoke will.
We will have a look. And these are sad tidings. We wish you well on your journey to the city. Again, if all is as we left it, the road should be clear all the way to Neverwinter.
Excellent. What were the names of these two half-elves, by the way?
Jamalor, Jamelor, and Faethana, Faethana.
Thanks. Just making notes, sorry.
Yep. Well, we should probably leave you to your travels.
Do you regularly patrol this area? How far is your territory?
We cover ground from Neverwinter to Waterdeep. Patrol, explore.
Your travels. Have you ever heard rumors or encountered a one-eared halfling in possession? of
I'm
a
sorry,
jade
what?
amulet?
A one-eared
one-eared-
halfling? Robin
Yes.
leans up, and then he kind of makes sure both his ears are there.
He does have two.
He does have two,
Okay.
and they both appear to be nicely attached.
Excellent.
A one-eared halfling, you say? Well, no rumors of that. And he looks at the half-elves, and they kind of look at you funny.
He would be in possession of a jade amulet
Oh, so
carved. It might be somewhat distinctive. It's carved in the likeness of an angry sea bass.
they kind of look at each other. What? How? Okay. How would one know
Doesn't
that
ring a bell?
it's an angry sea bass and not just a sea bass?
Because it would not look happy if it's angry.
Jacob just sort of leans over and says, just go with it.
Robin takes a nice pull off of his pipe and sticks his thumb, blows a few nice smoke rings. Gives you a knowing look, kind of rolls his eyes. Yes, we'll keep an eye out for the one-eared halfling. Does this halfling have a name by chance?
Yes, Jasper Surefoot. But he may be traveling under the guise of Dremnor.
Actually, his real name is Dremnor. And
No, it's not.
he quite possibly has an elvish companion with him that would answer to the name of Paranon.
I really doubt that.
I see. Oh, very interesting. Yes, we will look into the bugbears and the Ogrelons, these shamans of Talos, and you say they were together. Faithana asks again, almost in disbelief.
We're working side by side quite effectively. Mowed down 7 of the 8 gardeners. Wagon.
Clay kind of nods. Yes, they savages. They surprised us, and before we had a chance to really react, 2 of us were down, and 2 more were grievously wounded. It was thankfully these heroes came along, and I was saved, but it didn't look good.
Yeah. I provide the caution because one of them did get away. We couldn't give chase.
No, I think Von Felt ended that.
I thought one of them got away.
I don't think so.
Yeah, one got away, one got killed as the other got KO'd by Von Felt.
Oh, okay. Well, so one.
Oh,
did
right,
go.
yeah, there was 2. Yeah, there was 2.
I thought he got them both. Sorry. Got to take better notes.
I got the leader, though.
Got the leader.
You got, so 3 ran. You got the leader early. You got one of the 2 who were still running, but that third one, they were double timing it, so they were out of your range. Anyway, it's nothing to feel bad about. It's just
Blacker.
Well, perhaps we can track the one that got away and learn a little bit more about this. J. Malor says, well, we should be on our way. Again, so sorry to see that the fine militia of Neverwinter fell, but they fell doing what they do, and that is defending good. It's only a shame that the load did not reach its destination. I know they need these things in Leylon.
we'll see if the lordship is willing to bring him back.
Oh, he will. We will pass along word that the supplies have been delayed.
That would be appreciated, I think.
All right, very well then. Well met. Travel safely and make haste.
We'll make lunch first, but yes. Make haste.
Very well. And they re-hood themselves and on the horses and clippity-clop southward quickly.
Can you imagine if this place Lady Leylon or whatever it's called? Can you imagine how much of an armpit it must be if it needs all these building supplies? I certainly hope we never set foot in it.
Some of the nicest people come from some of the strangest places.
Well, that has not been my experience, but I'll take your word for it.
Remember, Ethan, you
Yeah.
found all of us.
Yeah, indeed I did.
In fact,
The cream often rises to the top.
Let's go.
Clay looks rather impatiently at the group. Shall we press on then?
Oh, we're pressing.
Yeah.
Gets the
We're
horses going.
pressed, all right.
You guys can do the jam sandwich where you just jam a sandwich in your face and keep going.
Yep.
Yeah. The afternoon and evening pass quite quietly, uneventfully, as does the night, spent with watches. Very carefully, again, Clay helps you find a reasonably defensible spot to camp. And it is quiet, again, save for the howling of coyotes in the distance, and the occasional kind of, whoa, what was that? And you see the shadow of like a seabird, passing between you and the starry sky that just kind of gives you a little like, whoa, and then you recognize the silhouette. It is not a ring wraith. It is a seabird.
Not an ice dragon.
That's right, not an ice dragon. Day 5 dawns clear and bright. Once again, you've had beautiful weather for this journey, and you find yourself on the road, knowing that before the end of the day, you will see the gleaming tall towers of Neverwinter and enter her safe stone walls as you begin to mull over what could possibly be the next phase of the next chapter in the lives of the Company of the Looming Eye, as you prepare to be given title and land in the Jewel of the North, the city of skilled hands. And so the day passes uneventfully. Clouds begin to accumulate in the west, which only serves to spur you more quickly to get into the city, because it does look as if weather is brewing and heading your way. Bodak Horseman, thank you for the follow and welcome to our game. And hey, thank you for the host. That's very kind of you to do that. Welcome aboard. We're playing 5e Dungeons and Dragons, and we are glad to have you here. And so it is that you do pass one bit of interesting detail is you pass a grassy but appears to be recently well-used lane heading east, and it is a little hillier, and you can also see within maybe within a couple of miles, some stands of trees here and there that may be the first marches of what turns into the Neverwinter Wood. Anybody from around here knows that this vast forest runs from the crags through where Mount Hotno is, all the way down almost to Phandalin. It's a huge forest. In fact, you were in the southern reaches of the Neverwinter Wood when you found the mound, the Dragon Barrow. And you feel like maybe these stands of trees are the first bits of forestry that will ultimately turn into the Neverwinter Wood. And there is a signpost, sort of not elegantly erected. Plain wood, a bit of plain dark paint splashed in common script, and it says Helm's Hold, and it points down the lane to the east as you pass by.
I'll look at Clay. I'll bite. What's that?
Ah, yes. Rather curious place, Helm's Hold. Was a fortress, a small village. Used to be, he kind of scratches his scruffy chin, used to be, I think it was Helm's Stead? Was a farming community, and at some point it was determined that Helm himself touched the community, and it became a keep or a fortress, and it was renamed Helm's Hold. There was a rather nasty period of time where some fiends overran, infiltrated it, corrupted some of the priests of Helm who worshipped there, who maintained the fortress, and they were defeated by a number of our Neverwinter Guard. I was not sent, but supposedly the area has been reclaimed and is part of the reconstruction of Neverwinter. For a number of years following the spell plague, the refugees and those affected by the spell plague, the refugees of Neverwinter from when the mountain erupted, sort of took refuge there. There was rumored to be an asylum there that some of these people who were harmed by the spell plague were kept there, and an odd place. I've never visited it. Seems rather sketchy to me, but yes, Helm's Hold. Yeah.
But when you say fiends, what does that mean?
Creatures of great evil, from perhaps rumors were told from the very depths of hell itself. He says with a straight face.
The rest of us break up.
That is quite fascinating.
Yes.
Although it sounds like a ghastly place, it may be worthy of some investigation at some point.
Yes, it turned out the prophet of the heirs of Azure, the one who sort of helped rebuild the Church of Helm, it turned out to be a prophet of these fiends and had to be deposed and disposed of. And thankfully, some Neverwinter heroes and the guard were able to win the day. But yes, the place has quite a history for a small little out of the way place.
When you say fiend again, were these creatures demonic or devilish?
I don't. They were dark. Frightening tales have come from there, but I don't have much detail.
So a prophet summoned demons from the depths of hell himself, and then everyone kicked the prophet's ass.
Well, I think the lesson in this, my dear Null, is that we should be wary of false prophets.
Oh, I am in 100% agreement with that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that, like, it does sound familiar, doesn't it?
Not analogous.
No, it's
It's a little
just
close to home.
I feel like I've heard this story before.
It seems quite different to me as a true prophet of a God that wishes no evil towards anyone, only finds refuge in knowledge.
Knowledge is power, and
Indeed.
power corrupts, absolutely.
Well, I wouldn't know about that, but knowledge is indeed power.
Just some stuff to keep in mind while I'm gone. That's all.
Nice. Nice.
I'm just gonna sip my really strong booze, cause like, oh boy, we're in for it.
I'm
gonna
turning
miss
everyone around him into alcoholics one day at a time.
I'm gonna miss our pleasant conversations, Null. I am going to miss you. And he looks at Ezra and goes,
See? I like people.
See, I'm a good boy.
Ezra's just gonna give a long, suffering look at Big Null, and Jacob. Just
The Twitch.
Yeah.
So you make your way northward, pressing on, the wind picking up, a little bit of a cool twist and a distinct change in humidity, becoming quite humid. In fact, you can smell rain, and far in the distance you swear you see the flicker of lightning as a line of dark clouds begins to slowly build and roil on your far west, far left horizon. Hey, Sorrow's Tale, good to see you, man. Thanks for those bits. Very kind of you there. And you see before you, as you, again, the road bends ever to the northwest, you begin to see spires. Some of them look to be a little unkempt, a little dilapidated. The tallest of them But as you get closer, you can see other spires not so tall that appear to be in a little bit better shape. And the closer you get, you see that you're approaching a decent sized city. It has a stone wall erected around it. There is, in fact, a guarded gate. You can see that it's guarded by the fact that there are ballistae atop the wall and on the outside of the gate area. The gate has been built up so that there are probably people up above the entryway. It's probably a good 30 feet, 40 feet wide and open. As you get closer, you see a number of people dressed similarly to your soldier companion Clay in gray cloaks, wearing chainmail with the heraldry or symbology of the city of Neverwinter, the 3 snowflakes, stark white on the blue field, shaped like a shield. And as your group rolls up, Clay says, "Let me lead our fallen back home, if you would. Enter behind me, please." And pulls the wagon and carts past you, Tanner and Ezra. And he gets to the gate, and the guards all stop, and you see them recognize Clay, and you see their facial expressions go from expressions of like confusion, like "what are you doing here?" to horror, as Clay is apparently relaying his tale quickly, and they step aside and lower their heads, removing any headgear. Some of them have helms, some of them are cloaked, but they remove any headgear, pull their swords, and stick the tip in the ground, kind of like how you saw Clay standing guard at the back of the wagon, and drop their heads and close their eyes as Clay pulls now the funeral procession apparently into the walls of Neverwinter. And it is there we will pause our story for the evening, for the week. You have reached Neverwinter, and you've entered what looks to be probably the southeast gate. The road goes right in. The roofs, you can see like whitewashed stone buildings very close together in blocks. There's, a road in. You can see various rooftops, 1-story, 2-story, 3-story. Most of the coloring is sort of whitewashed with like a crimson or rust-colored stone or tile or even shake roof. To the far east end of the city, you see a great stone span that peaks up above some of the rooftops here and there. It looks like it goes over to where this huge castle, some of the spires 8, 10, 12 stories high, some of them looking rather rough, unwhitewashed. The top of the turrets not really gleaming with that crimson finished painted or stained stone or shakes. And then to the left of that, to the southeast of that, you see more well-maintained minarets that are fully whitewashed. You see flags atop them, flags that bear the standard of Neverwinter, the 3 snowflakes on the blue shield. And then as you're looking around, and this looks like a large city, you can't see the wall all the way around. It disappears from view. It's large enough. What you know of the city, there are probably upwards of 18, 20,000 residents, perhaps more. It has its own militia. It has its own police force. And of course, it's all under the protection and leadership of the Lord Protector Daggelt Neverember. But what really catches your eye that's really curious is floating above the rooftops, and it looks to be beyond those minarets and spires, the nicer, more well-maintained ones that are running the standards of Neverwinter, is this large patch of, it looks like if you've ever seen a tree pulled out of the ground with its roots, it's kind of wedge-shaped and the roots trail off, but there's this big flat patch of earth that came up with the tree. You see that called an earth moat, if you will. It's a floating area of earth. It looks like it's been pulled out of the ground, and it's floating up probably 50, 60, 70 feet in the air, but it looks like there are chains that are somehow attached to it, and upon it sits a 5-story magnificent dwelling. Hard telling. You're not sure if it's a small palace or a building of some import, but it's beautifully gilded with gold, and it's white and beautifully painted, stained. It has those same kind of crimson minarets on some of the corners and rooftops, all like tile, very nicely fashioned. But it has like 3 or 4 chains that appear to be keeping this patch of dirt. It's like the whole thing was just pulled up out of the ground and is floating over that part of the city. Which now you get a nice blast of salty air. You know that Neverwinter does in fact sit where the Neverwinter River meets the Sea of Swords. And you see as a backdrop, kind of stunning, the clouds just getting darker and darker, kind of a thick squall line. Looks like it's going to be coming ashore within the hour. A little bit of lightning flickering makes for quite a stark and spectacular scenery against the white whitewashed walls of the stone dwellings in Neverwinter. And you see what looks to be sort of a bridge that goes from somewhere on land up to this earth moat with this fantastic building on it. And that, my friends, is your first view of Neverwinter. Goodness gracious, what an evening. Lots of good roleplay. Thank you all. Yeah, that was really fun. Ezra and Ethan, what is your inspiration status looking like on your character sheet?
I'm saying I don't have one, but I know I do.
Okay, well now you have another one. Ethan, where are you at? You already have
I got
two?
2. Yep.
Okay, well you did catch an advantage, but congratulations to you two in particular. Not that anyone else's RP was subpar, but you two took a really shiny spot there for about 30 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever that was. So thank you for that gift. Very much enjoyable. So we have some business to attend to. Gideon, have you been kind of keeping track of the number of donors by any chance that we have?
Yes, I have.
Because we've got some giving away to do. How many donors do we have?
We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 7 different donors. A lot of people donated multiple times because everyone's really sweet and nice.
7 different donors. So I'm going to roll a D8, and I will eliminate any 8s. So if I get an 8, I'm going to roll again. I'm going to roll it twice, and those numbered individuals will be the T-shirt winners.
All right.
Okay. And I think what we'll do, because we do have a $25 tabletop loot gift certificate floating out there. Is that right, Kayla? Yeah. So why don't we give that to the top donor? How does that sound?
Top donor, let's see, that would be... Who would that be? I believe that would be... Let's see. Come on. I think that's either Kayla or Arctic.
Arctic. Myself and Arctic were both backing out of that. How did they give away?
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Because we already have. You just put it in chat.
Ah, okay. Let's see.
I got my order yesterday.
Then the top would be... Hey, Wilson.
All right. So, hey, Wilson, I'm going to get you in the next day or two connected with a tabletop loot gift certificate. So thank you very much. I'm making notes here in case you're wondering why I'm not looking at any of you. Okay, so let's do the... gotcha, Arctic. I see you there in chat. So I'm going to roll a D6. Mm-hmm. We'll take Arctic out of that list of 7 people. And let's see who we're going to give some T-shirts to. All right, you ready, Gideon?
Mm-hmm.
All right, first number is 1.
That would be our good buddy Dice Fix.
All right, so Dice Fix, we're going to get you connected with Von Felt for a cool free T-shirt. And the second D6 roll is also a 1, so I'm going to re-roll it. It's a 1 again, so I'm going to re-roll it. How about a 4?
Let's see, 4 would be Kayla. Pew, 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 pew.
All right, so Kayla, make sure you...
No, take a shirt.
Take a shirt, damn it. Plus, this was kind of... Kayla was the one that kind of kicked us
is
off.
Horrible.
Okay, fine. Then if we're taking Kayla and Arctic out of it, then it's Fellowship of the Table.
Yay.
All right, so Fellowship of the Tables. make sure you get connected with Von Felt. Maybe hit him up in the Discord. He's Matt in the Discord.
Yeah.
And you have won a shirt, my friend. Hey, Wilson, thank you for being top donor. You've won Tabletop Dice and Dice Fix. You've also won a shirt. I don't know if Preston is still here. Doesn't look like it, but we'll get a hold of him to get a hold of Matt. So, woo! Congratulations and thank you. What was our total for the night?
I think I kind of lost track at some point, but I think we raised almost $1,000.
938 total.
$938.
Oh, you guys.
I am gonna cry. I am. It's hard
It's community,
because
man.
when you're on testosterone, it makes it harder to cry. But I feel it.
Thank you all.
Do some home renovations. That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll make you
That'll
cry.
make me cry.
Yeah. Well, gosh, what a night. Man, I'm so grateful to our community for helping Gideon, and I'm just so proud of our little Wily Hobbit world that we have so many cool, kind people, and we can play D&D and have fun and be helpful. So, golly, Ned, thank you all so much. And let's go around and maybe do some outros here and, find out where you can follow these people when they're not hanging out here on Wednesday nights. We'll start with Von Felt.
Yeah, I'm Matt. Dungeon Glitch everywhere. If you want to catch me, I'm basically on Twitter. I own Gem Firefly. I make nerdy shirts primarily for causes like this because it's really fun for me to do.
Nice.
All of our profits ever have gone to charity. It's just what we do. And I guess technically, when stuff like this doesn't really count as a charity, so that's why we don't say we're a nonprofit, so we can have the ability to give to causes we like.
Yep.
So it's a lot of fun, and keeping it fun. I love this group. Everyone's awesome. Thank you so much for your generosity tonight and for hanging out. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Go ahead and make sure you drop your link to your site in the chat, please.
Sure.
All right, Ezra.
I'm Miss Mistake, also known as Kayla. I was typing, I'm sorry. And, Sorrel's Tale, thank you so much for rounding out that $938 to $1,000. You were absolutely amazing.
Gosh.
So the Wally, and I want to say thank you to everyone in the Wally Elephant community. You're all amazing. I forgot what I was going to say, but hi.
Intros.
I love you all. Have a good evening.
Okay. Jacob.
Hey, I'm Hey Wilson. On the internet's playing Jacob, the currently headache-plagued halfling. Sorry, that's me actually. The Tylenol is working. Thank you. Thank you so much for your generosity, everyone. I know I throw down a bit, but it's for a good cause. Spread the word and spread the link. Help Gideon out here, and we're a community. We can do it.
Absolutely. Excellent. Ethan. Chris.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris, WikiVA on Discord and Twitch. My Twitter handle is somewhere on the screen, and I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and doing everything that you did. It's awesome. It just once again shows what a great community this is. So thank you for watching us and donating to the cause. I appreciate it, and I know everyone else does. As far as me, this is the only place I play Dungeons and Dragons. This is the only place you can see me do it. And I love doing it. I've been playing with this group for a little over a year now, and it's a great game, great people, love doing it, and can't wait till next time.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Sorry, I'm still making notes on campaign stuff. Tanner, what's up?
Oh, hello. I'm Carl. I'm Carnage on Discord. Again, I'm not really anywhere else. You really can't follow me, but I am here on Wednesday nights. This is kind of, at the tail end of everything, so I don't know what more original to say other than thank you everyone that was for donations tonight, for the both giveaways and donations to the fund. Very good cause and a lot of fun doing it. So.
Excellent. Hey, Wilson's dropping gift subs like a madman out there. Thank you very much, sir. 5 gift subs. That also gains the party 5 more plus 2s.
Oh, thank God,
So
we need those.
You have 31 of them. Yeah, so awesome. Thank you very much, Dave. Man, I appreciate that so much. Your support is always much appreciated. Okay, that leaves our man of the night. Gideon, tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm gonna try not to cry, because this just means so much that you guys went out of your way to say let's do a little fundraiser, and just I'm amazed. I honestly didn't think much was gonna come of it, but I'm just really touched by everyone. You guys are so kind, and I promised from the very depths of my queer little Dungeons and Dragon loving heart that I will always pay it forward. And I love you guys.
Well, we love you too, Gideon. You've already paid a lot forward as far as I'm concerned.
I'm gonna keep being great. I'm gonna love you all out of spite because you're so nice.
I am so much richer of a person for knowing you and being friends with you. So, and one of these days I'm coming to Wisconsin and you're getting live Hobbit hugs. Damn it.
You're gonna be really surprised at how short I am.
Well, I'm not exactly a towering monster myself. I mean, the wily Hobbit is, I'm sporting the physique of a well-fed, So at any rate, wow, what a night. So happy and so pleased. Thanks everybody for a fun game, and thank you. We're gonna do another fundraiser later this summer for Gideon. Kind of open things up to a different crew of players, but we wanted to do as a party, as a game, a regular game. We wanted to do this as friends, and I'm so stoked that it worked out. So I'll go ahead and drop our game schedule. We do play here on Monday nights, Mysteries in the Dalelands. It's another Forgotten Realms game, 5th edition. In fact, there was a couple of players in here. Hey, Wilson plays in that game. Andrew also, Fellowship of the Tables, all that stuff. So, come check that out. And the occasional one-shot. We're also an ambassador for Jasper's Game Day. So we like to also support that charity that's near and dear to my heart. We raise funds and awareness for suicide prevention or training for people who serve the survivors of suicide victims and so forth. And we've got a fundraiser for that coming up in September. I guess I can leak that little nugget. We're going to be playing some Feywild Dungeons and Dragons. It'll probably be a day of games, maybe 3 or 4 games that day, sort of a mini marathon. And I have it on pretty good authority that we're going to have a celebrity-ish, a celebrity game master, Elise, the primary organizer and writer of Through the Veil. And now Through the Veil 2 and Through the Veil Treasures. She's going to run one of the games, and I think we have another one of the adventure writers from the Through the Veil books who will run a game. So we're going to have a pretty cool, fantastic day of Dungeons & Dragons in September to raise awareness, mental health issues, and raise money for Jasper's Game Day. So, and I just love this community. I'm so thankful to be a part of it. So we'll see you all next time. I want to go ahead and raid into a friend of mine named Stella Luna. She's running some D&D tonight. Talk about a cool, sweet, special, awesome gal. So when you get in there, give her a Hobbit hug from us and raise all kinds of Hobbity hell and tell her you love her. And let's go see what's going on in Stella Luna's world. Until next time, we'll see you next Wednesday here in the Jewel of the North, Neverwinter.